Have you ever thought, why do I suck at fantasy football? Welcome. This is the Commissioner Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome to part 2 of week 5 starts or sits if you have to sit somebody. I'll give you the rest of the games, about 6 games I'm going to quickly get through. Look, we had a doozy of a game Thursday night. It looked like it was going to be a tough game in the beginning. 7-3, I think it was halftime, and then the Rams kicked in their gears. Stafford had an index injury. He was wrapping up his index finger on his throwing arm, and then Russell Wilson went down with almost dislocating the top of his throwing middle finger. So that kind of, at least if you started Russell Wilson, kind of probably ruined your quarterback start. That was tough. Stafford could have done better if he got those, thrown to 2 touchdowns instead of, I think it's only Michelle Henderson rushed on the touchdown. So he had about 360-something yards for Stafford. So good game, 1 touchdown only, kind of. It sucks. It's just that's the draw of the luck in these games sometimes. Robert Woods took a whole different step. He's the Robert Woods of the old, and I think it was because Stafford had issues throwing the ball down the field. He threw one to Deshaun Jackson, and Jackson had to come back and get it. So Stafford was missing a lot of throws. I think it was due to his finger, so I don't think it's a long-term concern. With Wilson, you might have to make sure he's okay for the next game, which is going to be at least a week and a half from now. So some of the things to take away: Robert Woods came back to PPR status, like king of PPR. That he's always been like that, especially with Goff. I mean, short game, he did get 150 yards, but it was almost like 11, 12 catches, maybe even more. So I'm not on the stats in front of me, but it was a lot. So you got a lot of 20 yards. But that's what you want. You want Cooper Kupp and you want Woods to be the guys here in this offense with Stafford. And then the run game is decent. And then Higbee will come in, and hopefully Higbee can get like 4 to 5 catches. He didn't have that, but you hope for that, and you hope for that touchdown. And that's the Rams offense, and it's great. This is the kind of offense you want to be part of in the fantasy. And you want to have one of these guys, maybe not a Higbee, but I started Higbee in the league. I had somebody else started Higbee against me. It's not bad. It's you get decent tight end production on Thursday night, so you're kind of set for coming in Sunday. Stafford didn't ruin your week. DK Metcalf came through. I think Tyler Lockett could have had a touchdown. He was missing some throws, so Tyler Lockett had a decent game. And then Chris Carson was a game-time decision. He was out. And then Alex Collins was playing. He had a crappy game until the end. They're like, let's use him. And he looked good in the passing game. So I think Alex Collins is not a bad player. And I started him 2 leagues. He did okay. He didn't kill you, but he didn't give you at least a touchdown. And it sucks with Russell Wilson going out, but he looked good and catching the power ball and just running with the blockers. So overall, ended up to be a decent game. Started off of, this. I was messaging some guys. I was like, hey, do you guys miss the Bengals and the Jaguars from last week? So, but it turned out to be decent, and I'm kind of glad to hear that. So, also, I'm going to talk a little bit before I get into the games, a little bit about trades. So this year, especially in the leagues I'm in, it's been a little harder to get trades through, and it seems like everybody wants to get a win on the trade. Even myself, I step back and I'm like, people put up, if you play on Sleeper app, you post a player and it says, hey, I'm willing to trade him. And so a lot of times, somebody posted Kelsey. Well, I have Andrews, but I want Kelsey. Like, what can I get him for? He had a bad game. Are you trying to sell him low? And then, you get into kind of, arguments with your league mates and stuff. So that's been a doozy. But for me, it's one thing I wanted to say, and I kind of got pointed out in one of our leagues, was a lot of times you go online and you want to make sure the trade is fair. And it's great. You can go online, you can find these trade analyze, and, they analyze your trade. They do all this stuff for you, what's fair, what's not fair. But you got to take into consideration the league you're in, the type of scoring you're in, and also the rest of your players on your team. So the person that was trying to trade Kelsey away has a Waller as well. PK, if you're listening, I'm talking about PK. But he has Wallace, he has two tight ends, and you want to get the mass production after a bad game from Kelce. You want to get the best outcome in the trade. It's not going to happen because, are you trying to sell him low? We're trying to buy him a little low, but you're going to, you're trying to analyze it. So trades can be very tricky. And it's, for me, the best trades happen when there's a need basis. You have a need in running back, the person has a need in a wide receiver, and you're willing to negotiate, which we found in our leagues has been a little difficult this year. I'm not sure why, but maybe we value more players a lot better than, before. I don't know, but usually the leagues that I commission in, we get a lot of trades in. And we had a decent amount of trades, but it hasn't been as fun or exciting to trade talk, because that's one thing about fantasy football is getting trades done. And so if you're trying to get a trade done, don't try to overthink. Look for what you need. Again, I want all the players. I want a Tyreek Hill. I have a bunch of wide receivers. I want a Tyreek Hill, sure. So I kind of maybe have to disengage from those talks. Like I started talking about them, but I'm like, you step back and go, do I really need the players? I'm in need of running backs. So take a look at your team, take a look at what you need, what you're willing to sacrifice. If if you have two tight ends that are decent, if you have a backup quarterback maybe that you could throw in there, if you're looking for a running back and you have a bunch of wide receivers, everybody's asking me to sacrifice my best wide receiver in every trade that I'm trying to talk. So I'm like, why would I sacrifice my best wide receiver to get maybe not the best running back that you have? So it's a lot of back and forth. Trading is tricky. Hopefully, kind of as the season prolongs and you start to kind of know where your team is and how your players are, because a lot of times you don't. Like after 4 weeks, you can kind of gauge how your players are. But then like Kelce will give you a crappy week. He'll give you, I don't know, like 3 points or something like that from your number one tight end. That's rare, but it's going to happen. So you kind of want to, I'm not talking about the star players, but your other players, kind of gauge where they're at and see, are they going to be great? Like you should be worried about certain players. Like I'm worried about Allen Robinson. I'm worried that now that their quarterback situation is nobody knows what's going on. We think the rookie's going to start, and then Matt Nagy's I hope he gets fired, honestly. I was hoping they would lose to the Lions and kind of get that team settled into one quarterback and establish, because Allen Robinson's a great wide receiver, especially for PPR. So that's kind of frustrating. So there's also Calvin Ridley, high-end player that's struggling, and again, bad offense. So there's things that, you can start to worry about a little bit about players, and you might want to try to sell them now, but you're not going to get a lot for them. So trades is a little tricky. But if you're trying to always win in the trade, you're not going to get a trade done unless, you get somebody who's desperate, which it's rare at this time maybe. The teams that are desperate don't have a lot of players to give. So any questions about trading, anything like that, you guys can ask. Message me, whatever. I'm always down to talk trades, to talk waiver wires, to talk all that good stuff. All right, I'm going to get to the afternoon games, the late Sunday night game, and then the Monday night game. Bears at the Raiders. Indoor game, so we don't have to worry about weather. I think I looked up, there's only 2 games with the weather. I think KC, Kansas City, and then the Baltimore. Every other game in the afternoon and later is indoor. It's kind of nice. So the Bears, look, are you going to start the rookie? Like, I don't know. In the 2 quarterback league and in the super flex league, sure. Definitely a good start. It looks like he's going to be the starter. But in a game like this where you have sorry, and I'm trying to pull my information up, which is not working, but you're in a game like this where the defense for the Raiders isn't bad. Look, Montgomery is out, so a lot of people went again and picked up Damon Williams, which he should be decent in this game. The run D for the Raiders is okay, but you can run on them. Now, Damian Williams was dealing with his own injury, so make sure you monitor that. I'm not sure if he's going to, this is the game to watch. This is the game to start. But after this, they got a tough schedule coming up. I think they play a lot of good run defenses if you look at the Bears schedule. So I got Damian Williams in one league, but I'm not happy with it because, who knows what's going to happen next. The backup, the other guy there is Khalil Herbert, the rookie. So I want to see how they kind of progress in this game, how they use this game to kind of move forward. So that's for the Bears. I have to start Allen Robinson. I don't like it, but I have to start Allen Robinson. And if you're probably in that position just like that, look, I'm starting him and I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping Justin Fields says, hey, I'm going to start targeting one player and start to at least get some production. So you kind of could do that on the Raiders, and that's what I'm hoping for. But I'm not happy starting Allen Robinson. I was not going to start him, and then Calvin Ridley didn't play. I have Calvin Ridley and Allen Robinson in the league, and Allen Robinson was the start. Sorry, Ridley was the start, but it looks like he's not traveling for some personal issues, so there might be something going on nobody needs to know. So I'm starting Allen Robinson. Like, he's my best option. So that's sometimes you have to make those decisions. For the Raiders, you're going to start Waller. You're going to start probably Josh Jacobs from this one. It's not a great start as well. It's the run defense for the Bears isn't bad, but you could still run on them. And Josh Jacobs looks like they're probably going to use him. But also keep monitoring his injury. He came out and he played a decent game, did okay. Nobody really else, unless you're in the PPR league, Renfro. Hunter Renfro looks like he's just being targeted, and it's good in PPR, for PPR, especially when you're trailing. But I don't think the Raiders might be trailing in this one. So I think this will be a definitely Raiders win, and they're favored by 5.5. And I think Raiders are legit. So not happy to say that, but I hope to beat the Bears. So, not a Bears fan. All right, Browns at the Chargers. So Chargers pass defense is through 4 weeks. It's proven itself. Their defense overall is a good defense, especially their pass defense is good. So what I'm worried about in this game is trying to start anybody like OBJ. I'm not starting OBJ. I got away from Austin Hooper. I'm not going to start anybody. Baker's also dealing with some injury. I think what they're going to do is try to run heavy with Chubb, and Hunt is a good start. Chubb is a good start. They're going to try to pass to Chubb, to Hunt, and probably Chubb, but mostly to Hunt. Short passes, quick passes. Baker's, I hope he plays, but we'll see. For the Chargers now, Browns defense is a good defense. But you start Justin Herbert. Look, he looks like the guy there. You start Justin Herbert, you start Keenan Allen, you start Eckler, and you start Mike Williams. If you want to start the tight end Cook, it's not a bad start. Not the greatest because he might give you a dud, but it's not a bad start. Now, Giants at the Cowboys. This is going to be an interesting one. I am actually picking the Giants to win. The line is 7. I am taking the Giants in this one. I think the Giants come out surprising the Cowboys. Daniel Jones is actually, I think he was currently the 6th rated quarterback with 4 points for fantasy. So he's playing a better game. Looks like Barkley's full on go. He's healthy. Kenny Golladay looked like he came back. He looks like Kenny Golladay. Shepard might be back. Darius Slayton might be back. The rookie Tony is there. Ingram. So they have a decent offense to sustain a win, and they prove themselves. So I think the Giants have taken a turn. Now, I'm probably going to bet on this game and for the Giants not to win, but at least to cover that 7-point spread. So I'm banking on a good game. I know Diggs is playing out of his mind, the cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. Their defense is showing up. So hopefully, I hope it's a high-scoring game just because I need Dak to throw the ball. The Cowboys just feels like they stopped throwing the ball. They're running the ball, so it's good for Zeke. Pollard, I'm not going to start Pollard. It looks like they're like saying Zeke is the guy. He's back. He's the man. So you start Zeke. You got to start Cooper. You got to start CeeDee Lamb, and you got to start Dak. unless you have a better option and you have like two quarterbacks that you're good with. Schultz, the tight end. Blake Jarwin was supposed to be the tight end, but looks like it's Schultz. So he's actually a decent start. Giants are a good defense, but I think in this one the Cowboys go back to throwing the ball. And CeeDee Lamb and hopefully Cooper Kupp sustain what they're supposed to be, right? Especially CeeDee Lamb. He's been playing under the radar. All right, next game on the afternoon, 49ers at the Cardinals. Cardinals 4-0. I'm also kind of looking to see, Lance is supposed to start the game, which it's hard for me to pick the 49ers to win this outright. But it could be 49ers need a win. They're 2-2. They need a win. Lance will run the ball. So Lance in the two quarterback league is a good start. Superflex 2 quarterback league is a good start. So Lance, like you start Kittle, and at this point you cannot sit Deebo Samuel. I don't think he's going to sustain what he's doing because he gets a lot of big plays and it's great. I'm not sure if it's going to keep happening, but you got to start him because he wins you weeks. I played against him in one league. I played against him and I still won, which that was tough. That was a tough. Finally got some luck on my side and I won. For the Cardinals, oh boy, look, Murray, you start Chase Edmonds, and Connor's getting the end zone, the red zone targets. So when you're beyond the 5 yard, you're close to the goal. Looks like Connor gets the call, but they use Chase Edmonds, and he should be useful in this game. 49ers have a good defense, but you can throw on them, and you can use a pass catcher like Chase Edmonds. Hopkins, man, it's tough sledding with him. I think he's dealing with some kind of injury because he's not the same. AJ Green looks like Jay. You could probably start AJ Green. I wouldn't. But I think AJ Green has kind of become the second guy there. I'm not going to trust. I know people are getting high on their tight end. You can maybe, I'll talk about it, but for me, it is AJ Green. Right now, you can start AJ Green, Moore and Christian Kirk are more like upside plays. Hopkins, if you have him, how can you sit him? Like I said, Murray, you start. And then I wanted to get into and kind of at least bring up Max Williams that everybody's kind of hyping up. We'll see what he does in this game because he's been consistent at tight end. You scratch your head and go, okay, is this sustainable? I don't know, because that's what you want. That's what you want in especially in tight end. So if you're looking for upside tight end play, I'm not gonna say it's a bad play because you can start like a Mo Alley Cox. You can start somebody else who's not supposed to produce, but they have to produce. So this would be a more safer start. All right, late Sunday night game. You got the Bills at Kansas City. Bills defense is number one defense. They're legit. Their corners, they're everything about them. But Kansas City's Kansas City, so I'm not gonna sit Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey Hill, or even CH. I'm not gonna sit them. Josh Gordon, let's see if he's active, but that should help Mahomes and kind of not help Kelsey and Hill as much. So those are the starts for KC. You don't bench those guys. For the Bills, I think it's a great play for the Bills. I think the Chiefs defense is everybody's just dumping on them. So, Josh Allen, you start. Zach Moss, you could start. Even Singletary, you could kind of throw in there. But Zach Moss being there looks like that kind of give him more targets, more opportunity to play. And then Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, a good start. Even their tight end Knox, which looks like, again, the tight ends are good targets in the end zone. So it's a good chance he'll get another touchdown for the Bills. And I'm starting their defense just because I don't want to drop the defense. I don't want to put the defenses. So I'm going to have to have them in a few leagues, and I'm just going to ride along with them because I think they will cause some turnovers. I'm hoping for a special teams, maybe turnover, something like that. That's about it. In the last game, Colts at the Ravens on Monday night. Again, Ravens and Raiders have 2 Monday night games now. Congratulations. for the Colts. Looks like Nyheim Hines is probably going to be out. He has dealing with some injury. I wouldn't even start him in this game. So Jonathan Taylor was a good start. Michael Pittman should have I think he's going to have a good game. If you have Michael Pittman, he's seeing a lot of targets. It's not showing up in touchdowns. That's why maybe his points don't look great. But this is the player you want. If you're trying to go look and try to get a name that nobody really, or maybe in a trade deal, look for Pittman. Ask for Pittman. If you have somebody in the league that has a Michael Pittman, go get him. I think especially maybe even probably in this game. There's really nobody else. Mo Ali Cox is a tight end that caught like 2 touchdowns last week. Congratulations. But I think that's the Colts don't have a lot of other options, especially with Nyheim Hines gone. I think Pittman will be. He's tall. He's a good wide receiver. So if you can get him before that in the trade as part of like a package deal or something, go get it. Go do it. I think he's got a good future in him for this year. With Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, I'm not going to start unless you're in a 2-quarterback league and you need to start him. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's it's a good start. I'm debating with him and Jalen Hurts, but I'm probably going to start Lamar Monday night. Marquise Brown looks like he's a decent start. Mark Andrews. And for the running backs, what a mess. What a mess over there. You got Murray, you got Bell trying to come in and play. Tyson Williams was supposed to be the guy there. They're no longer there. Like they benched him for a week. I mean, they gave him a week off or whatever that is. So I don't know what's going on with them. So Ravens defense is not a bad start this week because again, Colts will turn the ball over. So that's it for week 5. Any questions, concerns, talks, anything like that, hit me up on Instagram. And I would love to discuss all this good stuff. So hope the best of luck for you. Hope you get a win this week and move on to week 6 on above the 500 mark, or at least getting close to the 500 mark. 2-3 is not bad. I'm hoping for 2-3 in a few weeks. So good luck to you guys, and then until week 6, take care. Bye.
Dude, you better not be sleeping after that podcast. That was an amazing message. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Commissioner. Also subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Any comments, questions, concerns, send them to the Instagram page, The Commissioner, your fantasy football guide.